Hello, Adam here again. This is game 4, or match 4 out of 5 in the Modern League with Painful Truth Storm. I won the die roll, I'll go first. I'll keep this hand. It's got just about everything that I'm looking for. A couple fetches. I'm going to lead by getting a Watery Grave and playing Serum Visions. I topped both of these because I like them both. And he leads with Hallowed Fountain tapped. Now this makes me think blue-white control, because I have a buddy that plays it a lot, so usually that's what I guess. In this case I turned out to be right. Here I just try to play another Ascension, which sticks. Potentially not correct if I put them on blue-white control, because sometimes they run Detention Sphere. Which as he tapped 3 I basically was terrified that that's what that was, and I was going to lose both of my Ascensions, but that was not what it was, thankfully. So here I get to put a counter. I'm going to take the Probe instead of the Painful Truth since I can't cast the Painful Truths right now. I take the Scour because I can activate Ascension with it, and then I just pass the turn. He's going to play a Mystic Gate. I'm going to Thought Scour targeting me, activating both of my Ascensions. And then I'm going to cast Gitaxium Probe once I get to my main. I guess I start by ritualing. I have essentially infinite mana, infinite ability to kill him at this point, so he just has 2 paths, a remand and a rev, none of which does anything with all these Ascensions. So I'm just going to ritual a bunch. Past in Flames, and I'm just going to hit play now. Make a bunch of mana with Manamorphose, you know, normal combo. I'm doing a lot of stuff in response to Past in Flames right now, including scouring myself a bunch, because I want all the spells in my graveyard to actually have flashback, and then once I figure out that I have enough cards, I actually start scouring my opponent to try to figure out what's in his deck. Oftentimes after you scour them like 3 or 4 times, they concede because they don't like that very much. They don't like the information that you're getting. So that's game 1. I win game 1 pretty easily there. I sideboard out 3 Painful Truths and a Watery Grave for 3 empty and 1 Echoing Truth for this matchup, since usually if you're just super fast they can't do anything. I actually make a pretty big mistake later on this game. I pick up Thought Scour off that Slight, but I make a pretty big mistake later on, and it was more of a Moto misclick than anything. He has Rest in Peace, which isn't completely unusual, but I have Echoing Truth here, so I don't mind casting this Ascension and just moving on from here. I did probe him. He didn't have anything incredibly relevant. I just clicked past it again. It was a Mystic Gate and I think another remand. Here I'm just trying to set up for a combo. Since I only have 1 Grape Shot, I'm not going to be using the Grape Shot to kill him probably with the Rest in Peace in play. Here I just cast both Ascensions. Since I have this Echoing Truth, I can actually get them active on one of my turns if I want. Now I'm just playing lands as they come up. He doesn't have a clock, so I'm not actually worried. Here he plays a Meddling Mage naming Empty, so now he actually has a clock. Conveniently, I draw Empty. And this is where I decide to actually go for it after this turn. So I get the Steam Vents tapped. He plays a Blade Splicer. Now I'm going to do some math real fast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I could have waited to cast Echoing Truth on my turn, but I just decided I would do it right now, try to bait out a counterspell if there was one. If it was a remand, I would be happy recasting Echoing Truth. I do end up drawing another Pyretic Ritual, so I could have waited even more, because I'd have extra... Well, actually, if I Echoing Truth and then he remanded my first ritual, I would have lost... Well, I wouldn't have been able to activate the Ascensions. Thankfully, I drew the second Pyretic Ritual, which helps me activate these Ascensions, but I end up ritualing, and then I Grape Shot to kill all of his guys. And I believe I put an extra on the Meddling Mage. I usually try to put an extra on the mage or on the thing I want to kill the most, because then I don't actually have to, if they remand one of the copies, I don't have to worry about it. And I needed to kill the Meddling Mage there. And now I have 16 goblins, he's at 19 life. This should be an easy game, and I should have won this one, but I didn't. He activates Colonnade, smacks me with it, puts me to 5. And all I needed to do here was attack with most of the goblins, but I accidentally messed up, hit attack, or I clicked attack with all, and I think I'd already F6'd or something at that point, so it just, once I declared attackers, it just moved on, so I didn't have a chance to pull 3 of them back. 3 because I want 1 to block, and then 2 extras just in case he does have 2 removal spells. And since I did attack with all of them, he goes to 4, he does block 1, and then I drew a Past in Flames, which, while he didn't replay a Rest in Peace, I didn't have anything to flash back my Grape Shot, so it ended up being a game over. So that was a loss on my mistake, but it was pretty much in our favor. So we go to game 3. I noticed that he played almost no basics on the last one. Blue-white control really goes back and forth. Sometimes they have basics, sometimes they don't. And over those 2 games, I saw just a couple basics. So I actually decided to board out 3 Blood Moons for a Grape Shot, a Past in Flames, and it doesn't say... Oh, and I took out 3 Thought Scours for it, because he has Rest in Peace. So I do play first. This time I'm going to fetch Island. I put the Thought Scour, or the Ritual on top, my bad. And then I'm just going to cast a Blood Moon. Now this is where things get interesting, because he does cast Rest in Peace, which I find is fine. I just take the land right now since I don't have a way to deal with the Rest in Peace. And here I'm just going to cast Manamorphose, make a red-blue, draw nothing. I'm gonna... Actually, I made 2 blue, because I'm short on blue. And then I slight... I was hoping to hit a ritual here, so instead I take the probe myself, still don't hit a ritual, and then just take the Thought Scour, so I can do that next turn. Here I probe him, or I Thought Scour him, exiling 2 lands, which wasn't very important. And then I'm just going to cast Empty the Warrens here. I'm actually saving the probe for a slightly larger one. He flashes in Restoration Angel at the end of turn. I think he plans on blocking, or not blocking, racing, which he is winning that race right now. But this time I attack for 4, and then I probe using mana, so I don't have to worry about it. I get another ritual, so I writ twice, and I now have 12 goblins, and at this point he realizes he can't race, and it's, again, like I mentioned last game, your Blood Moons, I don't know, he's playing a 2-color deck with plenty of basics in it, but a turn 2 Blood Moon just shuts him down completely. which that can happen, and it's ridiculous how good Blood Moon can be in some decks, especially when they think they're safe from Blood Moon, because either they didn't see it the game before, or because, you know, they think they're playing two colors, they can't get Blood Mooned out of the game. But a lot of times Blood Moon, if you can get it down on turn 2, you just win the game. And honestly, between Painful Truce and Blood Moon in the main, I'd almost rather run Blood Moon because of how many games you can just steal off it. I would want to run main deck empty, so that's something completely different. But it's definitely interesting because that card is just a house, and I think it helps with so many games. But yeah, that was match 4. I will be back shortly for match 5, so enjoy.